There's something magical about the quiet parts of a video game. The village with a soft melody playing, a campfire where your party members trade stories, a car ride where you can practically smell the sea breeze. These moments don't always make it into trailers, but they're the ones I remember the most. Those quiet spaces in between aren't accidents. They're carefully crafted pauses, deliberately woven into the experience. After the tension builds and breaks, after your heart rate finally settles, the game gives you something else entirely. Permission to breathe. It's in the way the music softens when you enter a town, the way the camera lingers just a second longer on something like a sunrise, the way the game holds back for a moment and lets you take everything in. The designers of my favorite games all understand something. The human brain needs time to process. Emotion, story, gameplay mechanics. It all settles more deeply when we're given space. It's not just a feeling thing, it's science. Students are told to sleep after studying because the brain actually uses rest to convert information into long-term memory. The same is true for games. After a tough boss fight, a major choice, or even a new mechanic, quiet moments give players the breathing room to internalize what they've learned. And you should absolutely be including them in your games. Here's why they matter more than you might think. Restful moments in games are emotional anchors. When the action pauses, the story can breathe, and so can we. Final Fantasy XV, despite being an imperfect game, is a masterclass in building connection to the characters through quiet moments. Think about those car rides where the radio plays in the background, or the nighttime scenes where the boys are all goofing around and we can see their friendship before our eyes in ways that are more grounded, ways you don't get to see on the battlefield. These are the moments where you actually fall in love with these characters. Let's talk about the science of emotional processing. If a game never slows down, important story beats can feel rushed or hollow. If everything is going at full speed psychodrama crazy all the time, if everything is impactful, nothing really is. You get desensitized to it. It's the same in other forms of fiction, too. They say when writing a novel to have each chapter end on a different emotional note than it started. If the chapter starts off heavy action, whah! By the end, things need to slow down. And as the person consuming the media, be it a game, book, movie, whatever, we begin to expect patterns of high versus low stakes. When things are too intense for too long, we start to expect a period of rest. On the other hand, when things are too calm for too long, we start to get antsy. When is the other shoe going to drop? As a game developer, you can even learn how to use these pacing techniques to foreshadow or intensify upcoming emotional beats as well. Beyond just narrative, rest is a core game design tool for pacing and immersion. Continuous action literally exhausts players. Not just their characters' health bars, but their actual human brains. We have limited attention spans, limited capacity for high-stakes decision-making, and after a while we can get really overstimulated. And that's one big reason we need towns, safe rooms, hub areas, places where you can save your game, upgrade your gear, accept quests, and basically exist without something trying to kill you. Horror games often use safe zones to give the player a tiny break between all the tension. Think about that feeling of finally breathing a sigh of relief in one of the safe rooms in Resident Evil. Though my regular viewers are probably most familiar with how JRPGs use rest. First, there's obvious examples: inns, towns, places where you literally sleep. But we shouldn't forget about the OG, save points. Save points are controversial these days. In a world where save anywhere has become the norm, where every moment can be backed up and reloaded at will, save points seem a little old-fashioned. But don't write them off. Save points do something that save anywhere and autosaves never will. They make progress feel intentional. When you reach a fancy floating crystal after a grueling dungeon, it gives you a dopamine hit. Save points add a sort of punctuation to a game, creating natural little stopping points for the player, and even letting the player know things like, uh-oh, there's a boss nearby. And honestly, there's also just something deeply satisfying about the ritual of walking up to that glowing crystal, hearing that familiar sound, and knowing you've secured your progress through your own actions, rather than the game's invisible hand. Save points make you a participant in your own safety, and in a medium built on player agency, it's a feature worth defending. But that's a whole other video, I guess. So, now that we've talked about what rest in video games is, and why it matters, let's talk about how you can actually design for it. And I don't just mean tossing in a healing spot or an inn, I mean building moments of intentional decompression, the kind that lets your game breathe. Rest is a multi-sensory experience. First, let's talk visuals. If you want your players to feel safe, you need to show them safety. Use warm light, slow visual movement, a quiet forest clearing with dappled sunlight, the cozy flicker of a campfire, the orange glow of a lantern-lit tavern. Contrast is key to remember here. When you come out of a cold, dark dungeon, even a simple camp with some wood smoke and soft shadows can feel like a safe haven. Music and sound are important too. Choose slower, simpler tunes or ambient sounds in rest areas. Gentle acoustic guitar, soft piano, birdsong, a crackling fire. All these keep the mood serene. Though, if the rest of your game is a nightmarish hellscape with the horrible screams of the damned, your period of rest doesn't have to be all sunshine and rainbows. Maybe the screaming softens. Maybe the shadows are a little bit less blood-tinged. Souls-likes are excellent at using visual and auditory cues to mark rest points. Elden Ring paints the sights of grace as glowing golden beacons against the gloom. These bright lights are impossible to miss. They signal safety and rest. And that golden glow cutting through the darkness, it tells players you can relax here. Another thing you could do is, in restful spaces, let NPCs and party members slow the experience down. If you're using a party system, this could be a moment for party banter, quiet one-on-ones, or even small reflective cutscenes. You can also implement other kinds of low-stakes interactivity. Rest isn't necessarily doing nothing. It's doing something different than high-stakes gameplay. Let players repair gear, cook a meal, write in a journal, check in with party relationships. You can even gamify rest. Base decorating and crafting fall into this. For the RPG Maker devs watching this video, let me know if you want a tutorial on any of those things. Indie devs and other creators, I have another message just for you. Just as games need pauses to refresh the player, you need breaks too. The creative journey is intense. It's easy to hyperfixate, work your ass off, and ignore when you get inevitably burned out. I know I am terrible about pushing through when my body is clearly telling me to stop and take a break. The carpal tunnel in my right hand keeps reminding me of that. I have to keep reminding myself that taking time to rest, reflect, and recharge is not a weakness, but part of the process. Remember that great ideas often come when the mind is relaxed. A lot of you guys have told me about the games that you're creating, and you're crafting worlds worth caring about, and you deserve care too. So yeah, whether it's a campfire in the middle of a monster-filled forest, or a moment of silence at your own computer, rest isn't just important, it's part of the journey. For your characters, for your players, and for you. If you liked this video and it gave you something to think about, I'd love if you left a comment and told me your favorite rest spot in a game. Or, I don't know, your favorite place to nap in real life. I have this square couch I call Squouch, and oh my god, it's the best nap spot ever. If you ever want to hang out for more indie game dev stuff, art, or rambly thoughts about games and storytelling, consider subscribing, or buy me a cup of coffee. But no pressure. I'll still be here, whether you were subscribed or not. Thanks for spending this quiet moment with me, and I hope you get good rest this week. Bye-bye!